You can be strong for everyone and still have no words left when you come to God. You answer the texts, carry the pressure, smile at church, and somehow keep moving. But when the room finally gets quiet, your soul does not feel strong. It feels silent. Not because you stopped believing, not because you stopped loving God. Something deeper is happening. I call it the strong silent split, and a lot of believers live there quietly. The strong silent split happens when you become the reliable person in every room, but the hidden person in prayer. You show up for everyone else but disappear when your own heart needs attention. You know how to encourage people, you know what verses to send, you know how to say, "I'm praying for you," and mean it. But when it is your pain, your words shrink. Maybe you have even noticed this strange pattern. You can pray beautifully for someone else's marriage, anxiety, grief, or future. Then you try to pray for yourself, and all you can say is, "God, I don't know." And honestly, that little prayer may be more truthful than the polished one you were about to force out. Because sometimes the problem is not that you are prayerless. Sometimes the problem is that you have learned to only bring God the version of you that feels presentable. You bring Him the responsible version, the helpful version, the version that knows the right Christian words, but the exhausted version stays outside the door, holding the bags. That is a painful way to live, because God never asked you to become your own emotional security team before approaching Him. Somewhere along the way, you may have started believing that spiritual maturity means never needing much, never breaking down, never being confused, never saying, "I'm tired," unless you can immediately turn it into a lesson. But that is not maturity. That is often survival wearing a very respectable church outfit. Real maturity is not pretending you have no weakness. Real maturity is learning to bring your weakness into the presence of God without editing it first. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." Notice what that verse does not say. It does not say the Lord is near only to the emotionally organized. It does not say He is near only to the people who can explain their pain with good theology and a calm face. It says He is near to the brokenhearted, near, not disappointed from a distance, not annoyed in the corner, near. That matters because many of us learn to be strong long before we learn to be honest. We learn to read the room, carry the mood, solve the problem, lower our needs, and keep going. Maybe in your family you were the steady one. Maybe at work you're the dependable one. Maybe in church people come to you because you seem grounded. And none of that is wrong. Being dependable can be a beautiful gift, but a gift becomes heavy when you're never allowed to put it down. Sometimes we are not silent with God because we have nothing to say. We are silent because telling the truth would break the image we have been protecting. You might be afraid that if you admit how tired you are, you will sound ungrateful. If you admit you are angry, you will sound rebellious. If you admit you are lonely, you will sound weak. So you choose safer prayers. Lord, bless this day. Give me strength. Help me be faithful. Good prayers, yes, but sometimes they are covering a deeper sentence. The deeper sentence is, God, I am carrying more than I want to admit, and I do not know how to stop. That is the sentence God can meet, not because it is dramatic, but because it is honest. Think about how often Jesus met people in the Gospels at the point of their actual need, not the point of their religious performance. People came to Him crying, begging, confused, ashamed, desperate, interrupted, and unfinished. Jesus was not shocked by human need. He moved toward it with truth and compassion. So why do we assume He wants us to sound calm before we come close? Maybe because we confuse being strong with being safe. If we stay strong, nobody has to worry. Nobody has to ask too many questions. Nobody has to see the parts we cannot manage. But prayer is not a stage where you prove you are fine. Prayer is the place where you finally stop performing fine. And that can feel terrifying if you have been the strong one for a long time. The first step is not to produce a perfect prayer. The first step is to stop lying by omission. You do not have to exaggerate your pain. You do not have to make it sound spiritual. You can simply tell God the truth in one sentence. Father, I have been strong for everyone, but I feel empty with you. That may not sound impressive. It may not sound like something you would say out loud in a prayer meeting, but it may be the most honest prayer you have prayed all week. Another honest prayer could be, Lord, I do not know why I keep avoiding you when I need you most. Or, Jesus, I am afraid that if I stop moving, I will finally feel how tired I am. These prayers are not failures. They are openings, small cracks in the wall where grace can begin to enter. And grace does not need a big opening. Sometimes it starts with one real sentence whispered at the edge of your bed. Here is the deeper question. Who taught you that God only wants the useful version of you? The version that serves, encourages, fixes, organizes, gives, answers, and holds everything together. That version matters, but it is not the whole you. God is not only interested in the part of you that functions well. He is also present with the part of you that feels scared, resentful, numb, ashamed, or worn down. If you only bring God your useful self, your prayer life may stay polite, but it will not become intimate. Intimacy requires truth, not dramatic truth, not public confession for attention, just quiet truth before the one who already knows and still invites you closer. This is why silence can be tricky. There is a holy silence that listens, but there is also a defensive silence that hides. Holy silence says, "Speak, Lord, I am listening." Defensive silence says, "If I do not say it, maybe I will not have to face it." The invitation is not to become emotionally messy on purpose. The invitation is to stop treating honesty as disrespect. God is not fragile. You do not have to protect him from your disappointment, confusion, fatigue, or questions. Read the Psalms sometime with that in mind. You will find worship, yes, but also grief, fear, frustration, waiting, longing, and very honest cries for help. The Bible gives us language for faith that is not fake. Faith can trust God and still say, "This hurts." Faith can worship and still ask, "How long, Lord?" Faith can obey and still admit, "I am afraid." So maybe tonight, your next step is not a long prayer routine. Maybe it is not a new plan, a new journal system, or a fresh spiritual checklist. Maybe your next step is one chair, one quiet moment, and one honest sentence. God, I have been silent because I did not know how to be weak with you. And then pause. Let that sentence sit there. You do not have to rush to fix it. You do not have to make it inspirational immediately. Sometimes we rush past honesty because we are afraid of what we will feel, but God is not only present after the healing, he is present in the telling. He meets you before you have language. He meets you before you have closure. He meets you before you can explain yourself clearly. You are allowed to be responsible in your life and still needy before God. Those two things are not enemies. You can love your family, do your work, serve your church, and still come to God like a child who needs to be held. That is not weakness in the shameful sense. That is dependence, and dependence is not the opposite of faith. It is one of faith's deepest forms. So the next time you feel yourself becoming strong for everyone and silent with God, do not start by shaming yourself. Start by noticing it. There it is again. I am carrying everything, but I am hiding my heart. Then turn that observation into prayer. Lord, I do not want to hide from you while serving everyone else. That prayer may become a doorway back to intimacy, not instantly, not magically, but honestly. And honest prayers, even small ones, have a way of reopening rooms in the soul that performance kept locked. You do not have to be the strong one in God's presence. You do not have to manage his opinion of you. You do not have to make your exhaustion sound impressive or your pain sound theologically polished. You can come tired. You can come wordless. You can come with only enough faith to say, "Lord, I'm here." And because of Christ, that is not too little. That may be exactly where grace begins again. So today, do not just ask God to help you stay strong. Ask him to help you become honest. Because the goal is not to collapse in front of everyone. The goal is to stop hiding from the one who loves you most. You have carried a lot, maybe more than people know, maybe more than you have admitted to yourself. But you were never meant to carry it without bringing your real heart to God. So take one quiet moment, no performance, no perfect words, just truth. Father, this is where I really am. Please meet me here.